We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on Sport.
A new week begins right here, right now, live on a Monday morning on the early line on SportsGrid and all across the SportsGrid network. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. We are here together for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Bright and early on this Monday to set the stage for a new week, following one of the great finishes and one of the all-time dramatic Sundays at the Masters that we will recap for you with one of the great feats we have ever seen in the history of sports, especially in the game of golf yesterday on a Sunday afternoon. That is Rory McIlroy winning a career Grand Slam. We will get to all of that here in this opening segment and in this opening hour. Of course, yesterday was regular season finale Sunday around the association as well. All 30 NBA teams playing their 82nd and final regular season game. For some, playoff positioning. For others, trying to trend into their best form entering the postseason. And of course, for the teams that will not qualify for the postseason, just trying to get as many ping pong balls as possible in their favor to help themselves atop the 2025 NBA draft. Major League Baseball, another weekend in the books. With the host of Pro Baseball today, DRS, a lot to get to here over these 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern.
Panic mode for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Could it be this early in the season? Some great play out there in the NL West, which we'll certainly get to during the show, but also the Masters weekend. Unbelievable. You had so many ups and downs, which is what we like. It was like a movie script that you're writing just yesterday, Sunday alone, even on the back nine. Rory McIlroy ends up winning it there. You see the emotion and how much it actually meant for him, probably figuring, if I don't get it done today, I might never get it done or have the chance to get it done. And he did, which was sensational to watch that play out. So a lot of good stuff here. New week, new money, as we like to say, and hopefully warmer temperatures here in the Northeast.
Oof. That's what we are certainly hoping for, DRS, because when the azaleas are at full bloom and you turn on your television and you watch a Masters Sunday where the sunshine is sparkling in at Augusta National, you are hoping for it to be truly spring. And that's what we saw on a Sunday afternoon. But just because there was ideal conditions does not mean it was an easy final 18 for Rory McIlroy to get to a place in golf he has never been. Inside Butler Cabin to don a green jacket. A final round, DRS, really emblematic of Rory's career at Augusta. Very high highs, very low lows. Triumph and tragedy at the same time, but at the end of it, even following regulation and into the playoff against Justin Rose on his 19th hole of the day on Sunday, Rory McIlroy wins a green jacket to become the 6th ever golfer to complete the career Grand Slam. And there on your screen, you see the emotion and you see the weight of a burden that has followed him for 14 years and maybe 11 in his attempts to win that career Grand Slam. A moment we will remember forever at the Masters, and a moment that Rory will always know, living in golf's history book, completing the career Grand Slam, and now finally a Masters champion.
Just what a wild ride it was for Rory. You take a look at Thursday afternoon. He's having the perfect first round. This could be my weekend here, and then quickly collapsed at the end of round number 1. 6-7 shots back. Built that back on Friday with a sensational round. Took it into Saturday, and it's like, okay, Rory's going to sleep with the lead here tonight. This is going to be great. And before you could blink your eye, the lead was gone right off the bat in round number 4. And then you watch some unbelievable iron shots by Rory, and then head-scratching plays by Rory, and bad putts at the same time, only to recover. Usually when things are going good, Ben, they stay going good. And maybe if you crash out, it's just a wrap on your tournament. The ups and downs on a tournament in a major, and Rory still ended up winning. Absolutely sensational theater and TV. And I'm sure when the ratings come out, if they haven't already, are going to reflect that.
For a man that needed to exercise his demons, not just in major championships, but certainly above all else out Augusta National Golf Club, it seemed as though at points yesterday, DRS, those skeletons in his closet would win the day. Instead, it is Rory McIlroy that wins the day, wins a green jacket, and completes the career Grand Slam. We'll have plenty more from Augusta in just a matter of moments. Regular season finale Sunday around the association, much to the delight of Donnie, and a lot at stake in the Western Conference. Huge matchup in San Francisco between the Clippers and the Warriors. If LA wins, they clinch the 5 seed. If Golden State wins, they avoid the play-in tournament. We needed overtime as well after regulation in that one. And the Clippers get the better of the Dubs yesterday inside the Chase Center, 124-119 in OT. Los Angeles wins outright as a 3.5-point underdog. The Clippers have won 8 straight on a heater as the 5 seed in the Western Conference postseason. Because of the loss, Golden State stumbles all the way into the play-in tournament.
Finally got some meaningful basketball on Sunday, and these two teams played like they didn't want to play any extra games, and it was the Clippers picking up the victory, which means they punched some ticket to rest. Look at that starting lineup for the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, 33. Zubac, 22. James Harden, 39 points. Everybody in double digits there. And if you would have told me before this game started, Draymond would have 14 points, Jimmy Butler would have 30, and Steph Curry would have 36, I'd say the Golden State Warriors punched their ticket already into the top 6 in the play-in round and avoiding the play-in round, and they didn't. What a game yesterday. And the Clippers, one of those teams just weeks ago, it's like, this is a team you need to watch out for because it does have superstar power. If it can stay healthy, might be able to do damage. Great game yesterday.
Donnie, they started that being the Clips, 1-6 following the All-Star break. They won 18 of their last 21 to be the 5 seed in the Western Conference, but unable to capture home floor advantage because the Nuggets just needed a simple win against a Rockets team that really did not have much motivation, already clinching the 2 seed last week. And that's exactly what Denver did. Going on the road to Houston, the Rockets did play their starters a little bit yesterday, but Denver wins by 15 in H-Town and covers as a road favorite as well, 126-111 to claim that 4 seed out west.
Yeah, big victory. And also, you did get the update from Ime Udoka before that game that the starters were going to play regular minutes. Did they play full regular minutes? Not necessarily, because nobody crossed over that 27-minute marker like Fred VanVleet yesterday. Expected result there for the Nuggets. Another big performance by them with 126 points on the road. And keep in mind, that 126-111 final, the fourth quarter was 40-24 for the Rockets here. So this game, that final score didn't even tell the tale of how one lopsided game it was.
It was the reserves, really, that equalized things for Houston or made it more respectable, but Denver really in control. The Nugs cover as a 7.5-point road favorite in Houston. The Minnesota Timberwolves, a 23-point favorite yesterday at home against the Utah. A win for the T-Wolves, the 6th seed, out of the play-in tournament, and a visit to LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers in the opening round. That's exactly what they accomplished behind a 43-point performance from Anthony Edwards. Nowhere close to a cover, only winning by 11, but Minnesota is the 6th seed out west.
All you have to do is win, survive, advance, and what it comes down to here. So congratulations if you're a Jazz backer, basically sweat-free in that game. How about Oscar Tshiebwe, 18-12, showing up in the final game of the year?
We all remember Oscar Tshiebwe for what he did at Kentucky. Fantastic stuff. The best team in Major League Baseball, DRS, is the San Diego Padres, 13-3 after sweeping and shutting out the Rockies in 3 consecutive games. The Padres in San Diego, a perfect 10-0 this year as well.
I got to tell you, man, I might be on that Rockies charge this entire season. They absolutely have to be contracted from Major League Baseball. Understand this. If you can't even, hey, it's up in the air when we play at Coors, but when you go on the road and you still can't score any runs anywhere possible, just horrendous. But yesterday on the show, loved Mr. King on the mound yesterday. How about a complete game shutout and 8 Ks going over his 7.5 K number? Woohoo!
The Bears, a big payday for Kyler Gordon. 3 years, $40 million DRS. Now the highest paid slot cornerback in the National Football League. And tonight is draft night in the WNBA. The 2025 WNBA draft here in New York City. Paige Becker's expected to go number 1 overall.
Hey, there you go. And a new season begins after one just ended.
Yep, that's what they do from college hoops to the WNBA. But to Augusta next.
Fantasy baseball. Let's be honest, George. There's a lot of things antiquated about this game that we love. Man, I would love to try some new little wrinkles here. And so for Sam's question here on the show, I think it's at least fair to ask the question with catchers in fantasy baseball. And sometimes we're playing in 2 catcher leagues. Why at this stage of the game? I have no idea. If you're still doing it, you're behind in the times. Buy or sell, catchers should get a fantasy point for throwing out runners trying to steal. So essentially awarding a defensive play to get an offensive point in fantasy. You gonna buy or sell this?
I mean, so this never even crossed my mind. I hate the catcher position because they get hurt so much. You play in a 2-catcher league, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like, what are we doing here? There are not 24, assuming a 12-team league, there are not 24 catchers to draft in baseball. There's just not. Although I'm the first person to tell you, Herrera's probably out there in a bunch of leagues there because we didn't see that power coming. Should he get a point? I think if you're going to do this, by the way, why a point? What are you throwing out? 1, 2 base runners a week? It's 2 points. Who cares? You know, shouldn't it be more? I mean, if we're going to do this, should we do it right? Shouldn't it be 5 points? You know, so I would probably go that direction. If you're going to do it right. Give him more points. And by the way, then let's go further. You make an error, you're losing points. No one gets an error anymore. All right, if you get an error, it means you really screwed up. Watching that Yankee-Pittsburgh game yesterday because I think it was who cares? Somebody hit the ball hard to Isaiah Khalifa at shortstop. He didn't have to move, but he dropped it. They called it a hit because he hit the ball hard with 3-hopper. Oh, hard hit, error. So let's do that too. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with this, but you need more than one. It can't just be a point that's meaningless. You need more than one.
Fantasy sports today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
A Sunday at the Masters that we will never forget. With all the stakes, with everything that was on the line, entering our final round at Augusta National for the performance that was delivered, with the highest of highs and the lowest of lows on a Sunday at the back nine at Augusta. It ends, though, DRS, with Rory McIlroy finally accomplishing the thing that had eluded him for more than a decade. 11 years to complete the career Grand Slam, but finally yesterday, even in a playoff on his 19th hole of Sunday, McIlroy has his moment at Augusta, a masterful playoff hole to finally capture a green jacket. Rory McIlroy at 11 under par finally dons that green jacket inside Butler Cabin and wins the first Masters tournament of his career to become the 6th golfer in history to complete the career Grand Slam. But DRS, as we alluded to, and as you see the stats there, it was not easy yesterday for Rory. Despite having a 2-shot lead entering Sunday, playing in that final pairing alongside Bryson DeChambeau. Despite the fact that after Rory birdied his 10th hole of the day to start that back 9 at Augusta, he held a 4-stroke lead over the field. Calamity after calamity. Bad shot after missed putt, and Rory had to go to a playoff to win it. Matched with some masterful iron play down the stretch to even give him the opportunity to win it in regulation. It will be a final round known for its drama, swirling all throughout on a Sunday at Augusta. But at the end, the record book will show a green jacket for McIlroy and a career Grand Slam to boot.
Yeah, and also we're talking a lot about Rory McIlroy, but also Bryson DeChambeau on Sunday yesterday. It looks like he was going to be the victor at that point. And what a big collapse. I remember back in the mid-1990s, the Greg Norman collapse there on a Sunday afternoon at the Masters. And that felt like what Rory McIlroy was trying to do, but DeChambeau helped him out by also plummeting there on the back 9. But if we want to focus on the shots, some of the shots, I should say, that Rory McIlroy hits, unbelievable. Like, understand this. This isn't like a practice round or, hey, I'm at the local municipal golf course, nobody's watching me, and, oh, that hurts to miss that putt. Like, we're watching live on TV, and you can hear the crowd groans every time he missed or hit a bad shot, which compounds a person already saying, like, I can't believe I hit that shot. Then you hear the crowd, the stress that comes through, but able to pull it together time and time again. Understand this. You can't, win the tournament on a Thursday, but you can lose it. Now, Rory didn't lose it technically on Thursday because he shot even par, but I don't know how he slept that night going like, I was probably going to shoot 5 under, be 1 or 2 shots off the lead. Then I'll shoot my 66 on Friday, 66 on Saturday. I can walk away with this thing. And to leave that golf course on Friday, knowing how well he played through the first 15 holes or 14 holes and had that collapse on him and still was able to come out carefree on Friday and fire that 66 and then do it again on Saturday was impressive. And then you're sleeping with the lead and you say, you know what? This is going to be my tournament. And to say, I can't even stroll through and just play defensive golf. I lost the lead before you could snap your fingers in round number 4. And then to continuously come back, build a lead, lose the lead, miss a bad putt. And then in the playoff to say, I'm out of energy. I blew my chance to win this, to win it once again. Great theater, as I continue to say.
It really was, DRS. Perhaps the most dramatic final round we have ever known. And that includes the return to glory in 2019 for Tiger Woods. Because everything that was at stake yesterday for Rory McIlroy and all the demons that he has experienced throughout his time, not just at Augusta National Golf Club, but in major championships. It had been 11 years since Rory last won a major crown. One of the great golfers of this generation, more than a decade trying to complete the career Grand Slam. And Donnie, it's not just painting the path of Sunday, it's painting the path of the 4 rounds at the 2025 Masters. Rory was 4 under through his opening 14 holes in his opening round on Thursday. He double bogeyed 15, he double bogeyed 17, even par. When we spoke on Friday morning, as Rory was about to stalk the golf course for his second round, you and I discussed, man, those skeletons in the closet continue to grow for McIlroy. It was a 12-1 number on Rory to win the Masters entering Sunday. I had a plus 650 price that was his pre-tournament bet to finally capture that green jacket. But entering Sunday, after back-to-back 66s, 6 under par on both Friday and Saturday, he finally felt in control of his destiny, only to double number 1 and to lose the lead instantly to Bryson DeChambeau. And you also had a guy named Justin Rose charging up the leaderboard. Donnie, Rory did get it under control. He birdied number 10 as he started his back 9 and had a 4-shot lead. We thought, thankfully, this is it. He's got some wiggle room here that he can struggle and still ultimately claim the prize that has eluded him. But after one of the worst wedge shots of his professional golf career on hole number 13, the par 5, and yet another double bogey, that league vanquished once again. But Rory responded with a masterful second shot on 15. Missed an easy eagle putt, though, so only had a birdie. A gorgeous 9-iron on number 17 where Rory was pleading for the ball to go, 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 and it listened. To make birdie on 17, to have a one-shot advantage into his final hole of the tournament, or so we thought, only to plunk a wedge in the greenside bunker on 18, to not get up and down, to have to be in the playoff against Justin Rose. It was at that moment again, DRS, you thought those demons were going to be too large for McIlroy, for him to respond the way he did, to calm down the nerves in that 19th hole, in the playoff hole back on 18 against Rosie. It was a moment we have waited for a very long time. It was a moment well-deserved, finally, for Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, and on 16, hit it pin high on the par 3, and as you point out, 17, that amazing shot, and then you get to the 18th tee with the lead, and what are you saying to yourself? Please, can I just hit this drive straight? And he bombed it perfectly, like, this is going to be a tournament over. But if anybody, and again, not very many people have been in that type of pressure situation, you address that golf ball going like, I've hit this shot 3,000 times in my life. Just be average, and I win this. And have that golf ball flight go right into the bunker had to be absolutely devastating at that point. Like, all I had to do, like, just miss the bunker with an easy chip and get down, I win this thing. And he wasn't able to do that. But then recovering, absolutely incredible. Like, you saw the devastation on 18. Like, I can't believe I have to go to a playoff. But boy, oh boy, recovered right away.
Yes, he certainly did. We tie a bow on the Masters. Up next.
Fantasy baseball. Let's be honest, George. There's a lot of things antiquated about this game that we love. Man, like I would love to try some new little wrinkles here. And so for Sam's question here on the show, I think it's at least fair to ask the question with catchers in fantasy baseball. And sometimes we're playing in 2 catcher leagues. Why at this stage of the game? I have no idea. If you're still doing it, you're behind in the times. Buy or sell, catchers should get a fantasy point for throwing out runners trying to steal. So essentially awarding a defensive play to get an offensive point in fantasy. You gonna buy or sell this?
I mean, so this never even crossed my mind. I hate the catcher position because they get hurt so much. You play in a 2-catcher league, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's like, what are we doing here? There are not 24, assuming a 12-team league, there are not 24 catchers to draft in baseball. There's just not. Although I'm the first person to tell you, Herrera's probably out there in a bunch of leagues there because we didn't see that power coming. Should he get a point? I think if you're going to do this, by the way, why a point? What are you throwing out? 1, 2 base runners a week? It's 2 points. Who cares? You know, shouldn't it be more? I mean, if we're going to do this, should we do it right? Shouldn't it be 5 points? You know, so I would probably go that direction. If you're going to do it right. Give it more points. And by the way, then let's go further. You make an error, you're losing points. No one gets an error anymore. All right, if you get an error, it means you really screwed up. Watching that Yankee-Pittsburgh game yesterday, because I think it was who cares? Somebody hit the ball hard to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at shortstop. He didn't have to move, but he dropped it. They called it a hit because he hit the ball hard with 3-hopper. Oh, hard hit, error. So let's do that too. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with this, but you need more than one. It can't just be a point that's meaningless. You need more than one.
Fantasy sports today. Weekends starting at 8 a.m. Only on SportsGrid.
History on a Sunday at Augusta National Golf Club. Rory McIlroy wins the first green jacket of his career. He can now officially add Masters champion to his illustrious resume. His first major championship, DRS, in 11 years. And it's the last one that Rory needed to complete the career Grand Slam. There you see it. A PGA champion twice. Won the United States Open back in 2011. The champion golfer of the year at the Open in 2014. It took him 11 years, more than a decade, to finally complete the career Grand Slam. but now he has done it. The 6th ever golfer to do it, the first since Tiger Woods back in 2000, the 2nd since Jack Nicklaus accomplished this feat back in 1966. It is rarefied air for Rory McIlroy. And you saw the emotion spill over on the 18th green, but his 19th hole of the day, his 73rd of the tournament. Donnie, to me, after all that we saw, a final round that signified everything that Rory McIlroy has dealt with in major championships. Gut punch, heartbreak, only to finally get to the top of the pinnacle in golf once again. It was one of the coolest scenes I have ever seen in golf, to see a superstar, one of the greats of his generation, have all of the emotions spill out to express the humanity we desire out of the greatest athletes in one moment. Truly made me emotional and was one of the greatest scenes I have seen in sports in some time.
Dad, Ben getting emotional on a Sunday at the Masters tournament. Gotta love to see it here. But also understand this. Like, even Rory's got everything you could want in life, right? Everything going right. Major champion golfer, millions of dollars in the bank, cashes $4.2 million on Sunday. But sometimes you play for your own self-pride as well. Like completing the circle. Like being one of those golfers that finally got all 4 majors, which is such a tough feat to do. And maybe the biggest one that you wanted the most and waited so long for was that Masters jacket. And you see the roll coming up right now. Just that feeling of putting on that green jacket and understanding, like, you know what? I finally did it. Now, every year when I come back here, I'm a champion. I get to go to the champions dinner. You get looked at a little bit. And then, again, I'm not saying anybody ever looked down on Rory's career. It's been fantastic, Hall of Fame all the way through. But just putting that green jacket on really feels comfortable. Like a kid that's growing up in like the UK or Europe, you always want to win the British Open, the Open Championship, right? But outside of that, it's always been that green Masters jacket. You go back to that golf course time and time again. You're a champion. And even in that post-round presser, Rory sits there and goes, hey, what are you guys going to ask me next year? Because every question I ask here for the last decade is, when are you going to win a Masters? Like, phew, what a relief. I got it done. Now I can enjoy it, and away you go. And watch out now. You know, you take a look at that, chunk off the shoulder at this point, and you say to yourself, for Rory, now I could just play carefree all over the place. Maybe he stacks up even more majors now.
Our last 4 Masters champions, DRS, have won multiple times on the PGA Tour, entering when they won at Augusta. Rory has accomplished that, victory number 3 this year. But he did make history yesterday. Rory McIlroy not just winning a green jacket, but the first to ever do so with 4 double bogeys in his tournament or worse. He doubled 15 and 17 on Thursday, 1 and 13 on Sunday. DRS, what were the 2 spectacular shots that got Rory McIlroy back for a chance to win a green jacket after the disastrous double on 13, on 15, and 17? 2 of the great iron shots of his career. And a hat tip very quickly to Justin Rose, who sadly has his own story of heartbreak at Augusta, has led the most rounds at Augusta National without ever winning a green jacket, was our round 1 leader. And yesterday, fired a final round 66, 6 under, to force that playoff against Rory McIlroy. The 2 playoffs we have seen, DRS, at the Masters in the last decade, 2017 and yesterday in 2025. Justin Rose has been featured in both, and Rosie has come up ever so short in both, still hunting down that first green jacket in his career as well. He was all class on that 18th green, allowing Rory McIlroy to have that moment. They have been Ryder Cup teammates for a very long time. They are close friends. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, but I thought Justin Rose was great yesterday to allow that moment to be all that it was for Rory McIlroy.
You're right. And also, take a look at the tournament Justin Rose has. We always like to say, well, what if a guy did this? I don't know, shot 65 on the opening Thursday and then closed with a 66. Was he Tiger Woods? Did he win by 15 shots at that point? Because he probably was fantastic on Friday and Saturday as well. 71 followed by a 75. But you're right. The pressure in those moments, professional athlete, you can be there, have done it before, it doesn't matter. When you're lining up that shot with so much on the line and millions watching, boy, sometimes it's hard to execute. Just feel good for Rory McIlroy. He goes to sleep like, you know what? I did do it.
Yes, he certainly did. Around the association, next.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread water, so I think that puts them in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength, need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Regular season finale Sunday in the association. Much to the delight of Donnie Rightside. We recap it all for you here in this opening hour on a Monday on the early line. Now we preview the postseason. Play-in tournament action starts tomorrow night. And then, of course, the actual playoffs begin in a little bit less than a week. DRS, this is how the regular season came to a close. On Friday, with 2 more games left for all 30 NBA clubs, we set the stage and gave you the stakes, mainly in the Western Conference. A lot to be figured out based on that postseason seeding. Well, on Friday, the Lakers were victorious against the Rockets, LA clinching that 3 seed. But we had a lot to figure out on Sunday afternoon. 4, 5, 6, and 7. Who would fall into the top spot in the play-in tournament? Let's start with the 4 seed. The Denver Nuggets leave no doubt and clinch home floor advantage with a victory on the road against the Rockets. Denver wins by 15. They comfortably cruise to a 7.5-point road spread cover as well for Denver. All 5 starters DRS for the Nuggets scoring in double figures. All 5 starters for Houston did play, but nobody more than 27 minutes. They got some run, they got some work, they weren't really all that significant. And the Nuggets take advantage, winning 3 straight with an interim head coach in place to make sure they have home floor advantage in the opening round of the playoffs.
Maybe it was the right move. Maybe it wasn't the right move. But then you take a look and say, well, what actually happened here? Well, if you fire your general manager and your head coach with a team that's headed towards the playoffs and they lose 3 in a row heading into the playoffs, that's how you know you absolutely did the wrong thing. So the grades are still going to be out there, and we'll see how the Nuggets play in the playoffs. And keep in mind, the Nuggets winning 8 playoff rounds is not a successful season for them, fresh off a championship just a few short years ago. So understand this. They need to play well and keep moving. But I like the fact that they're 3-0. Pressure situations came up. They won those. Yep. Now they're a top 4 seed. They get a little bit of a break this week to get a little bit healthier before they head into the playoffs. And also, they are going to have home court advantage in round number 1 in elevation, sort of get that pedaling, and also still get used to your new head coach with the Michael Malone system that's now not there, and also Michael Malone, obviously, not there as well. So I'm happy to see what the Nuggets have, but understand this too. Like, they're supposed to get respect. They're supposed to win basketball games, but that is a tough Western Conference where if you win a couple rounds, it still might be a good season. But for the Nuggets, who just won with maybe the best basketball player in the world, you got to win a couple series here if you felt like firing the head coach was a reason to do that.
In that first round set, the 4-5 split, Denver and the Los Angeles Clippers is going to be great theater. That was probably the game of the day on Sunday to end out the regular season in the association. The Clippers on the road in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors. Both teams with a ton of motivation, both trying to avoid the play-in tournament. That's what LA was able to accomplish. Winning in OT, 124-119. The Clippers winning outright as a 3.5-point dog. The Clips win 8 straight to end out the regular season. And after dropping 6 of their first 7 following the All-Star break, the Clippers win 18 of their last 21. On the other end of that coin, DRS, Golden State dropping 2 of its final 3 in this final week of the regular season. Yesterday, understandable against a red-hot LA side. The one that will haunt them late last week at home as a 17-point favorite against the Spurs. Harrison Barnes, former Warrior, hitting a buzzer beater to beat his former team. But in terms of a playoff atmosphere type game, we certainly got that on a Sunday afternoon in San Fran.
No, we certainly did. And it's great, too, because, we don't have the same energy, which we'll get to the Eastern Conference, but you're talking about legitimate possible title contenders with championship pedigree that are now in the play-in round. So understand how important this final couple games of the season was, because so many times what am I going to do, Ben? Lose a spot, maybe 2, we'll still be fine. Like, we've never seen you could be the 3 seed or the 7 seed in the blink of an eye in the final week of the season. And we got that in the Western Conference Finals. And I don't know if it's like, you get a little moral victory. There's no moral victory for the Warriors. They're used to winning championships. Now they're in the play-in round saying, we have to play extra basketball as a veteran team, which we would have loved to have had 5, 6, and 7 days off before our playoff series started, have other teams in that play-in round and sort of worse for the wear and tear once they get there. I'm not worried, per se, about the Warriors, because if we look at that, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, I do think the Warriors actually are the best team of that bunch, but it's just a shame that, hey, man, look at the way it turned out. We had to play the Clippers in the final game of the season. It would have been better if we got to play a team like the Philadelphia 76ers that were just looking for losses late in the season. But it added great drama to the NBA broadcast, and you saw it yesterday, an overtime game with seeding on the line. We love to see that.
And Donnie, that is why Minnesota, who entered the regular season finale weekend, 2 more games to round out 82, in the 8th spot in the conference standings out west, was a pretty strong favorite to avoid the play-in tournament. The T-Wolves ended their year against the Brooklyn Nets and yesterday as a 23-point home favorite against the lowly Utah Jazz, who finished the season with the worst record in the Western Conference. Minnesota did not cover. They did win by double digits, 116-105, behind a 43-point performance out of Anthony Edwards. But because of that win, the Timberwolves avoid the play-in tournament. They will be the 6th seed and have an opening round matchup against LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers. By the way, Anthony Edwards down the home stretch, the T-Wolves winning their final 3 in that 3-game win streak. Anthony Edwards, 2 performances of 40-plus yesterday and in the 3rd to final game for the Timberwolves. So that is the Western Conference postseason. 1 seed Oklahoma City, 2 seed Houston, the upstarts perhaps around the Western Conference. The Lakers will host the Timberwolves. LA, a slight opening round favorite, will set the stage for the postseason a little bit later on in the show. The Nuggets will host the Clippers in the opening round. It's Golden State hosting Memphis in the 7-8 play-in tourney game. It's the Kings hosting the Mavs in the 9-10. By the way, DRS, the Dubs a 7-point home favorite in San Francisco against Memphis in the 7-8 Western Conference play-in tournament game tomorrow evening.
Makes some sense there. And also understand this. We talk about principal plays sometimes, not handicapping plays. Like, I feel like I have to take a dabble with the Rockets. Like, maybe not to win the NBA championship, but just to win the Western Conference at this point here, because 52-30 on the season, number 2. And it's just like, why don't we just put them behind the Mavericks now in the odds race at the FanDuel Sportsbook? It feels like that they want to do, because nobody's giving them any respect. And I love that. Chip on the shoulder. Ime Udoka's, had some, talented teams with the Celtics, transfers it over to that young talent on the Rockets, and we'll see if they can do damage. And you don't need a lot to get that ticket into profitability, but I just feel like that's the team. Like, yes, we love to watch the championship players with the Lakers and LeBron James and the Thunder, of a fun bunch here, which I do think is the best overall team in the NBA. But sometimes you need an extra rooting interest, like that B team, right? Me, I love the Philadelphia 76ers. They're not even in the playoffs. They tanked out in its well-being. I feel like I need to glom onto the Rockets as, you know what? Nobody's giving them a chance at a really high price and invest day to day and say, you know what? Let me be a Rockets fan, because somebody needs to be a Rockets fan, because nobody at the sports book is a Rockets fan, apparently.
Join me, DRS. I have told you
Let's go.
often. I bet Houston
Rocket
at
Nation.
17-1 around
Rocket
the All-Star break when they were the 2 seed in the standings, and they ended up the actual 2 seed. And yet, you see it right there. Golden State is a play-in tourney team. The Warriors favor to beat Memphis to be that 7 seed in the Western Conference playoffs, and yet Golden State has the 3rd best price to win the Western Conference crown at 9-1. A lot of that is pedigree, of course. Quickly to the Eastern Conference, DRS, not nearly as much to be figured out over this final weekend. Really, it came down to Friday. The Knicks were a 3.5-point home favorite against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Still can't beat the Cavs or the Celtics. They will end the year 0-8 straight up and 1-7 against the spread against Boston and Cleveland. But because the Pacers lost at home against the Magic, the Knicks are the 3 seed. Indiana is the 4. Milwaukee will enter the postseason on a heater. The Bucks have won 8 straight. So it's Indiana-Milwaukee in that 4-5 matchup in the Eastern Conference playoffs. The Knicks will host the Detroit Pistons onto the postseason for the first time since 2019.
Yeah, I don't care about anything in the Eastern Conference except those top 2 teams here. Cavs, Celtics, going to be epic. When they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, we'll enjoy that. It's just a lot of fodder here before we get there. And also for the Knicks here. Can I give a PSA? You know I love my jersey stuff. The New York Knicks with the one jersey that looks like you're taking a DUI test after you drank 16 beers at that point. Can we do away with those jerseys in that home court? I mean, just wear the standard uniform, please, in the playoffs. Thank you for that PSA.
We got to get some fashion police right side on that one. I'm not even sure what you are referencing right now, but we will get to it for sure. Plenty more to come live right here on the early lineup next.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread waters. I think that puts into a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
I'm still optimistic eventually this will happen and they'll get it together. I mean, if Florida can get their act together, Sam, with the Tribes, I believe that California can too.
It would bring a lot of money to the Tribes, which is also something they really care about. It's an $8 billion market. Conservatively, it could be even more when it legalizes. The sports books would be sharing revenue with the Tribes, essentially doing all their operations and forking over a percentage directly to the Tribes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
King of the featherweight division for the BKFC. That is King Kai Stewart, who is joining us now, still the champion of the featherweights.
Though he did get dominated, he was still throwing big shots. He landed a lot bigger shots on Palomino than he did me, and I wasn't really impressed. Palomino's getting older. He is definitely a former GOAT. He has done amazing things in this sport, but it's just my time.
Only on SportsGrid.
Let's get you caught up on the weekend that was around Major League Baseball, live right here on this Monday morning on the early line on SportsGrid. DRS, best record, best team right now in MLB in Southern California. Yeah, the Dodgers. No! The San Diego Padres off to a 13-3 start and a perfect 10-0 mark in San Diego. The Padres blanked the Rockies this weekend. I mean, in 3 consecutive games to pull off the series sweep. 16-0, the run differential in 3 games between these divisional foes. If we have the best team in MLB in San Diego at 13-3 DRS, the Rocks are the worst at 3-12.
Yeah, absolutely. By far the worst team, like not even scoring a single run. And also, how bad was it yesterday? Michael King's a pretty good pitcher. Young up-and-comer came over in the Soto deal. He was fantastic yesterday, and I thought he would be. 9 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 8 Ks, only 1 walk. And sometimes you're like, how bad was the game for the Rockies? Well, lining it up yesterday in Pro Baseball Today, the lineup stinks against lefties, righties, anybody, anywhere, at any time. So you see left on base, 2 runners. Not a single person got into scoring position for the Rockies in 9 full innings. That shows you how inept that organization is right now. But credit the Padres here, 13-3 on the season. And look at the home record, Ben. We talk about like, hey, can't beat SGA at home or Cleveland at home. 10-0 to start the season for the Padres here. That's how you get off to a good start.
And Donnie, San Diego has been on a consistently good start. 13-3, best record in MLB, best record in the National League West, in front of both the Dodgers and the Giants right now. And we've talked about the movement to start this year. The Dodgers are of course, going to remain a favorite to win the National League pennant. That's a postseason price. We understand that, but you need to be in position to have the best spot to really win that National League pennant. The Padres are that team right now and remain 12-1 to win the National League, behind the Dodgers, Mets, Phillies. Mets playing good baseball. The Phils okay to start this year. The Braves are 4-11 and at a plus 750 number. Atlanta still nearly $5 shorter than that of San Diego. I do believe the odds makers are allowing some value on the Padres. I understand it's early. I understand we're not even through April yet. But San Diego's got the juice to be a team right there all season long and off to a magnificent start. My Cincinnati Reds, DRS, I need over 79.5 wins this year for the Reds. Not off to a great start. They have found their footing back to an even 500 behind an excellent start once again out of Hunter Green. The Reds sweep their divisional foes in the NL Central in the Pirates this weekend, taking all 3 games of the set. Yesterday in the finale, Hunter Green, their ace, 7 innings of work, shutout baseball, only 2 hits, 8 Ks, a .98 ERA in 4 starts this year for Hunter Green, who now has the second best price to win the National League Cy Young Award.
Yeah, just like the Padres, you got to pile up wins against a bad baseball team. Outside of Paul Skeens, there's nothing to cheer for in Pittsburgh whatsoever. They had 2 hits yesterday and lose 4-0 to the Reds. You take a look at Hunter Green, one of those young up-and-coming pitchers that we've been waiting on. We've seen the flashes, we've seen the talent, we've seen the big games, but now it looks like finally putting it all together. How about this 2-1 on the season, Ben? Under a 1 ERA, which included obviously yesterday. He was spectacular in that game.
Yeah, 3-7 start for Cincinnati. They have now won 5 of their last 6. Elsewhere, DRS, some other pretty outstanding pitching performances. You mentioned Michael King for the Padres. Garrett Crochet against his former team, the White Sox, but now in those Sox that are red. And Boston needed it, by the way, to avoid a sweep against Chicago on the south side. But Garrett Crochet taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning, 5 outs away from a no-no against his former side. But again, a really big performance for Boston, avoiding a sweep against the White Sox. DRS, if you're looking around Major League Baseball right now and trying to point to some of those surprising, disappointing starts to this season, of course, the Braves first and foremost. The Red Sox not all that far behind.
No, and by the way, the Red Sox are lucky to be 8-9 on the season, Ben, when you take a look at their offensive output, particularly this week. And understand this, we don't panic. It's early in April. And by the way, one of the colder Aprils I can remember from Major League Baseball, not just cold, rainy and windy, basically blowing in everywhere. I like that lineup. I like the way it presents itself. You got power in the lineup. You got speed in the lineup. You got athletic ability. They'll be okay. So I almost take a look at it as like, the silver linings. Like, man, that's a bad start at 8-9 and go, well, how many games are you going to win when you score 2 runs, 1-1, run 1, 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs, 1 run? To be 8-9, that's impressive. And also, Garrett Crochet, how many times do we see big money pitchers come over and trade, sign a deal? I'm like, man, he's not performing all that well early. 2-1 on the season. Ain't his fault that he has a loss. 1.38 ERA, exactly what they expected him to be as an ace. In games where you need him to win, when you're not scoring a lot of runs, you saw that yesterday.
The lefty now a plus 220 price to be the American League Cy Young favorite, and perhaps saying the Red Sox on a very disappointing start equal to the Braves was a little bit dramatic. They are only 8-9. Atlanta 4-11 after dropping 2 of 3, losing the weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays. Some really good news for the Cubs, who hammer the Dodgers this weekend, taking the weekend set out at the Ravine, including a 16-0 win on Saturday, a historically bad shutout for the Dodgers at home, but with some very good, some very bad for Chicago. Justin Steele, their lefty, out for the season with an elbow injury. The Cubs win the weekend, but a big blow in terms of their starting staff.
And again, like the Cubs have aspirations to win that division, coming in as, relative favorite, 11-7 on the season. It's just, you can't recover from that. And I know, like, hey, let's go get Alcantara from Miami. Everybody wants Alcantara from Miami. So it's not as if you can say, lost the number one, let's just go easily get a number one, specifically this early in the season. And the one thing that we understand, if it is going to be a bad elbow injury, Mesa's going to wipe out 60 to 70% of next year's baseball season as well. Just a horrible news story there for the Cubs this early in the season.
13-1 DRS on the Cubbies to win the National League pennant, tied for the 6th best price right now alongside the Diamondbacks. To win the National League Central, and the Cubs in prime position, a very strong start this year. Chicago is minus 135, but you worry about the overall outlook in where things stand. The only other team above 500 in that, or nobody else above 500 in the National League Central, Milwaukee and Cincinnati, and even 500 at 8-8. So that does it for our Major League Baseball weekend recap. Plenty to set the stage for on this Monday. Hoping for warmer temperatures, DRS. It was a bitterly cold weekend in April around the Bigs. Some really interesting college football news this weekend out of Knoxville as well. Next.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We know what Chris Sale can bring. I was personally high on Schwallenbach. Smith-Shawver, their other starter, looks okay to kind of bad. They need to I don't want to say tread waters. I think that puts it in a bad light, but that's what they ultimately need to do. They need to tread water until Strider gets back, until Acuna gets back, and maybe it's just part of the team morale mentality that we're not at full strength. We need to kick things into gear once those guys get here.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid, rounding out this opening hour on the opening day of a new week. It is a Monday. Right now, DRS, in college football, we're getting through spring ball, through those spring workouts and spring practices. We are not seeing nearly as many spring games at this time of the year with the ever-evolving climate that is college football, of course, that is collegiate athletics. And boy, speaking of the evolving climate and that new landscape, we saw a new development this weekend out of Tennessee. Their star quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, who was the starting quarterback last year for the Volunteers, a part of a team that reached the college football playoff before getting absolutely dismantled by Ohio State. There were some reports late last week from Pete Nakos of On3 that Nico Iamaleava, who made headlines coming out of high school in Southern California for a very large and record-setting NIL deal for a high school recruit to head to Tennessee, was in renegotiations with the Volunteers on a new NIL deal. Some thought it was just speculation and maybe clickbait. It turned out to be the real deal. On Friday, we got reports that Iamaleava did not show up to spring practice, much to the surprise of the Tennessee coaching staff. Bright and early on Saturday morning, ahead of the Vols spring game, we learned that from Josh Heupel and Tennessee, they said enough is enough. They were moving on and parting ways with Nico Iamaleava, who is now no longer the quarterback of the Volunteers. DRS, as you were following this saga in the 48 hours from Friday to Saturday afternoon, what were some of your initial reactions?
This is the new age of college football, and I get it. It's more professional football. And in a way, like I've always been on the stance, college kids shouldn't get paid. And for the people that say, oh, it's slave labor out there, just don't go to college. Just hire an agent, work at the gas station, then turn yourself into the pro draft in 3 years. So I have no self-sympathy for those players. But understand this, like coaches can leave. Yes, we get that. Players can leave now, and it's pro football, which is essentially what it is. Here's the issue. It's so clouded from an NCAA perspective because if you didn't want the players to get paid directly, which was what I was doing, otherwise it's professional football. Name, image, and likeness I thought was wonderful when it came in because it meant like the biggest superstars in college football that have a national brand could actually be on a Dr. Pepper commercial, a Pizza Hut commercial, and get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's the way it would go. When did it turn out that the boosters and or pseudo boosters and the teams and the universities themselves are in bidding wars with their own football players? That wasn't what name, image, and likeness was. It started out like, hey, I want to be in a college football game. Great, man. They sent me the game and a check for $1,000. That's now legal. Or, hey, the local pizza shop in downtown Tuscaloosa is going to give me $500 to make an appearance on Saturday and give me free pizzas for the year. Name, image, and likeness. I just have no idea how it turned into. I have multiple agents representing me on my behalf where I want the school directly to pay me and I can renegotiate at any time. I don't think anybody saw that coming, to be honest.
I think we saw it coming a little bit, DRS, because the NCAA, despite understanding this was going to happen, put zero regulations or guardrails up and left colleges and state legislatures to fend for themselves. But to your point, and I think it is a sensational one, this is not NIL. This is not name, image, and likeness.
Exactly.
This is pay for play, where you have players negotiating contracts that are not actually contracts, not even standardized agreements. And Donnie, in terms of this specific situation in Tennessee, it almost feels like an inflection point. We've had a lot of inflection points where it feels like we have moved the needle so far that we'll find our way back to the mean. I'm not so sure that happens. But kudos to Josh Heupel and Tennessee, because in this player agency and player movement era, we are seeing basically the market get so far out ahead of itself that it only favors the players because that's the reality of the situation right now. Josh Heupel and the Volunteers took a stand and said, nobody is bigger than the program. You want to hold us hostage? Go play for another team. And frankly, from a football sense, that was the right move. Type in Nico Iamaleava 2024 stats, and you will see he ain't worth $1 million, let alone $4 million. Now, a promising future, perhaps, and we'll see where he ends up and which college program takes a shot on him. But in terms of the performance in 2024, certainly not worth the headache that he caused this year for the Volunteers. A new era, DRS, in college sports. We are going to see new developments that often stun and shock us. It is the nature of what we are seeing now around collegiate athletics.
Yeah, and there is no clear path to victory from any side at this point. The NCAA doesn't want to put their hands in. You don't want the lawmakers to come and have no idea how football and college football works to make the guardrails to put on that. So we're left in this storm of pay, play, good luck. Hopefully get your guy.
Hour number 2 up next.